Yes, ma'am. Actually, when we de-escalate into a lower community risk, community quarantine classification, we have that parameter where we look at the gatekeeping indicators of local governments and also the number of cases. But this time, a cost-benefit analysis was done by the
Okay.
National Economic and Development Authority. And looking at the numbers, we are seeing that billions of peso is being lost by government, and a lot of people are getting hungry already. So in the spirit of the objective of IATF, looking at all sectors, not just the health sector, and the impact of these sectors to health, the IATF has decided to lower it to MECQ so that we can be able to manage better and be able to also focus our response to the other sectors where the people, as I've said, are losing their income and they do not have money anymore to buy food.
Oo. So let's make that clear that the basis for reverting back to MECQ is a cost-benefit analysis really of the economy and people needing to work. Yun yung barometer.
Yes, ma'am. That was one of the major things that was considered during the IATF review.
Oo. So if that's the case, what would be the effect? No, I understand, of course, the cost-benefit analysis, given that the numbers did not decrease to what Secretary Roque said. He had hoped that it would decrease by 25% in the 2-week ECQ. Did that happen, Yusek?
As we always say, ma'am, we cannot still see the effect of the ECQ that we have done. But if we look at the numbers right now, it is still increasing. But hopefully, the hope would be because of all of these measures that we are doing, in about 2 weeks' time, we will see the decline in the number of cases. What would be most important right now to consider would be the healthcare utilization. These are the hospital network, the TTMFs, and the care for our patients. So it is not because we shifted to MECQ that we are not going to implement measures. We are stepping up measures in the different response strategies that we are having, and local governments are stepping up their efforts. So even though we are in MECQ, everybody was instructed to have these stringent measures in place.
Okay. Now, your reaction, the Healthcare Professionals Alliance Against COVID issued a statement and said that the ECQ was wasted because the government still has no clear plans. Kumbaga, ano ba daw ang plano ng gobyerno? Hindi daw pwedeng puro na lang lockdown, but the last 2 weeks they said was a waste.
Actually, I think that is not really accurate to say that it's a waste because we have not seen the effect of this ECQ yet. And we all know that the incubation period of the virus is 14 days. So we really have to look forward, and 2 weeks from now, that's the time that we can see maybe the decline of these cases. We are doing all of these things that they had been recommending. It is being done by government. It's just so that we need to manage everything at this point. So we are aligned with what they are saying. It's just that it has to be that people has to understand that the effects of this ECQ wouldn't be felt yet, will not be reflected in our case bulletins yet until 2 weeks from now. That's the time that we can see the effects of this ECQ.
Okay. So the challenge of the Healthcare Professional Alliance said the government still has no clear plans and efforts to fix the root causes, and the nation continues to suffer because of this. Can we go through some plans that you believe will essentially make a difference? Of course, in the absence of the vaccines that we needed, no? But what plans do you have that you believe will arrest the rising numbers, Yusek? Like number one.
Yes, ma'am. So if we're talking about root causes of the problem, we need to look clearly what would be the underlying cause why cases are rising. So this would be, of course, the containment strategy. So the containment strategy would include that people, per individual, the community has to follow the minimum health protocols. That's one. Second would be, of course, our border controls. Our border controls, we had been receiving our overseas Filipinos for the longest time. we need to step up and have this kind of quarantine, which is very strict, so that the 14-day period would be followed. And this has been discussed already in IATF, and local governments have already committed that they would be complying to finish the 14 days of our returning overseas Filipinos once endorsed to them. So these
Okay.
kind of underlying factors we need to look at, and it has to be everybody to work on this, not just government.
Okay. The other one that's interesting is the discussion on mass testing. So there was a mix up on the definition of mass testing. Vince Dizon said you don't have to test the whole population. And the definition of DOH on mass testing isn't testing the whole population, right? So Vice President Leni Robredo, I interviewed her, started the swab cab in Malabon, wherein she was able to test, they were able to test 1,300 in an area where transmission was high. And people were asking, why can't the DOH do that? Just send the tests to specific areas. In other words, be proactive instead of having Filipinos line up in a hospital. Are you planning to do something like this? Is this part of the program?
Yes, ma'am. It has been part of the program ever since July and August, when the first rise in cases happened. The code strategy was implemented, and this code strategy uses the Ravi model that we talk about, where our local governments go house to house and they do identify those who had been exposed or those who have symptoms, and we do testing. So we are going to employ that again right now. That's why we are going to deploy rapid antigen tests so that we can have faster results.